Divided by 13, coming at you under the umbrella of 2-rock amplification. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be exciting. Hey, it's me, Baxter.
And me, Jonathan.
We're back from Casino Guitars talking about some pretty big amp news in the universe.
It is big amp news.
It's big, well, for small amps, but big news.
Yes.
But more to come on why it's such big news, but let's get into it first. So, Eli and Mac, the owners of 2-Rock, have announced over the weekend, and I was on secret conversations last week with them too, that Divided by 13 is now coming under the fold of 2-Rock.
Which is kind of wild.
I'm kind of excited about it.
It is exciting.
You've known about this brand for a long time.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on Divided by 13?
I've always liked them. I don't have like a ton of experience, but the few times I've played them, I think at the times when I played them in my life, I was like, well, I cannot afford these.
No, that was me, because it was probably 15 years ago
Right.
at a Sam Ash. Like I saw a pre-owned one or something. I was like, ooh, what is this? It's cool looking. And I played it. I was like, wow. Oh, that's too expensive. And now I live in this world. So let's first start. Let's back up a little bit. Let's go talk about 2-Rock. Everyone who watches this channel knows my feelings about 2-Rock.
Yep.
I'm sort of a 2-Rock obsessee. I love them. I think they're some of the best built amplifiers in the world, maybe hands down. QC, roadworthy, they sound amazing. I don't have to use pedals, which I like. The minute I played one, I was pretty much sunk. And then we began the mission of becoming dealers with them years afterwards. But the tonal structures that 2-Rocks have alone just sort of blow my mind away.
Yeah.
Now, they do come at a price. They're very expensive amplifiers.
They're a little expensive.
they get your pocketbook, but that's okay. Because if you can afford it, hey man, it's one of the best amps I've ever played. It took me a long time to be able to afford one as well.
Yeah.
That one. We used to do all of our demos on them. So when I was talking with Eli on the phone recently, he was pretty excited. He was asking questions like, what do you think about this and this? And like, man, like he's one of those rare guys. Like he and Mac are both like the rare owners that don't come in there with like outrageous egos. They want to do the best for the brand, the best for their customers, and the best for all the dealers they work with too. So it was a pretty awesome conversation.
Well, I think what's neat about this, and maybe different, right, is it's, when you hear like a new company gets bought by like Fender or something, it's like, well, whatever. But because they are the umbrella, like you said. 2-Rock's not the umbrella of anything. 2-Rock was just 2-Rock. So when you hear sort of a brand that, in my opinion, or I think, just if you ask guitar players, is at the top right now. Like I don't know that anyone's above 2-Rock right now. Really.
No, I think they are kind of like the king of the hill at the moment.
Mythical, like boutique kind of status, right? And then they buy a brand who I think was much closer to the top at some point. I think they've been a little more dormant in recent years, right? Like I haven't heard as much about Divided by 13 in a number of years. But the fact that now they're gonna kind of be under the same thing is exciting, because I think 2-Rock will do cool things.
And that's one of the main reasons we're doing this video.
Yeah.
Like there's 2 points, and then you actually kind of hit on one, which I'm excited without even going to our bullet points. You kind of just got there naturally.
Got there, bam.
No, because it is like, this wasn't some group of investors,
Right.
Some like bean counters that just want like, hey, we're gonna make lots of money. It was amp lovers, amp builders, a small amp company that is like the best of the small amp companies, but bought this brand and is going to like sort of bring it into the next level. Because we'll get into the history of Divided by 13 in a minute too, but that's a huge deal.
It is.
That it isn't being bought by some monolithic corporation and it's being shuttled underneath, and it's going to be, we'll maybe see them, we maybe care about them. They're going to make them as cheaply as possible.
And we've seen that happen with like boutique amps, right? Well, guitars and amps, right? Where like
Everything.
Someone takes over, guitar stores, whatever, right? Where it just becomes about the bottom line and screw whatever it was, or the legacy, or how they're built, or the sounds.
And knowing Eli and the team over there, Mac over there at 2-Rock, like they're not really good with numbers or anything, so it's okay. So they just care about building cool amps, and they play them, they gig with them. They're gigging players.
Well, they seem very particular, about what they're gonna do. So I don't see them just hitting let's bottom line, let's mass produce, let's make these things in Indonesia or wherever. No, I don't think that's gonna happen.
No, so a little bit on the history of Divided by 13 if you don't know them. This is a different amp line than 2-Rock. We'll get into that sort of number 2 where we can get into why we think this is a big deal. But Fred Taccone found this back in the late 90s. I think I'm saying the name right. Sorry, Fred, if I didn't. You have to apologize. But he sort of brought this brand in, and it quickly became an amp that was adopted by a lot of the top studio players.
Okay.
And then so you've heard these Divided by 13 on countless records. And you just don't even know it. That's what's kind of neat. It became sort of like because this is, I got to think, this is like early 2000s and 90s when this sort of took off, and the boutique amp world wasn't what it is today.
Well, I think there's a handful of YouTube channels where it's like the session guys like Tim Pierce, if I'm not mistaken, he's got one. They're obviously dudes were using these for sessions, which is cool.
Well, no, and we're excited to see how this turns like Two Rocks and Fusion, and they're moving the whole production up to Northern California from LA.
That was my question. Are they going to be in the same place?
Yeah, it's going to be in the same place. They've already sort of geared production slots and expand their team just a bit. They can't expand it much, I'm sure, just because it's very specialized, to make sure it's not offsetting Two Rock delivery ETAs as much. So, that's a complicated question too. A lot of Two Rock customers are like, where's my Two Rock?
That was a question I was going to have, right? Like, does this mean if the same sort of folks are doing this? Because that's just a logistical thing to work out, right? Like, does this mean they're splitting their time? Is it a third of the time on Divided by 13?
No, I think everyone at Two Rock and now Divided by 13 is going to have to work longer and harder hours, and they don't get to go see their families anymore.
Perfect.
No, but I'm excited that the QC and the love and the strange amount of attention to detail that Two Rock applies to their builds will go into Divided by 13 now.
And you tell me if I'm wrong, because you probably know more about it at this point than me. But that was kind of already Divided by 13's thing as well, right? Like hand built.
Yes.
Okay. Like kind of one, sort of like Two Rock, like Eli. Remember him saying he plays every single amp before he goes out. So
yeah,
cool.
I think it's pretty cool when that sort of happens. You have again gigging musicians taking an amp company out. So some might ask why Two Rock would buy this amp company instead of just building amps based on this sort of flavor themselves. Why not sort of enter the EL84 world exclusively and just build their own thing? I think Two Rock, this is another sort of important point of why it's cool that they're doing this. They have established their brand. They sort of have their sound. They live in that Fender, that Dumble
Fender
kind
world.
of universe. And I don't think they want to water that down at all, is my guess. I think they want to have, this is what Two Rock does, and we do it better than anyone else. Divided by 13, they become friends with Fred, and they sort of see it's almost like a family thing, it sounds like. And they love the sound of what those do. They just want to bring it in to the next generation of players.
Cool.
Which I think is
So
exciting.
everything's staying Two Rock and Divided by 13. No merger is we're making these. It is still two distinct.
I mean, if
brands.
you sent Mac or Eli enough money, they'd probably build you a Two Rock Divided by 13 head that had one half on each side, which would be really rad.
Eli's cursing you right now. He's
like,
no, we will not do
gonna
that.
So
Please don't ask me.
So digging into there's a lot of models with Divided by 13. There's been a lot.
Right.
And there were a lot of, Two Rocks had a lot too before Eli and Matt got involved.
Kind of pared it down a bit. Yep.
They pared down to six core models. And that's the FTR 37, the AMW 39, the BTR 23, the JRT 9 to 15, CCC 915, and CJ 11. What all these mean, don't worry about it.
Self-explanatory. No explanation needed.
That's if you're a Divided by 13 junkie. You're going to be excited. You'll know which ones are there. And this is kind of happening now. This has been under works for the past half a year. Is going on. So this has already happened. All the marketing is dropped already. It's there. We were all sort of waiting to let this release until the marketing had a chance to release.
The website looks cool. Go check out the website.
It does look cool.
Yep.
It's been cleaned up.
There's a puppy licking me.
We're being attacked by.
What is happening?
But yeah, so if you are looking for something too, in a unique type of amp voicing, I mean, because it has the Marshall sounds, it has the Vox sounds, it has some Tweed sounds too.
That's kind of fun,
And you have some that switch between the 6L6s to the EL84s within the same amplifier.
Yep.
That's a pretty cool chassis option to have. I think Fred is very excited that he's handing off the wheels to this giant little beast of amplification to Eli and Mac and the gang.
There you go.
And we're excited to see what happens next too. So thanks for staying tuned with us. I'd say click like, subscribe.
Hit the old bell.
If you're interested in one of these lovely birds, let us know. We might have some fly through here. They're pretty exciting little toys. I'm excited to play some.
I'm excited.
Are you?
They should all come with a multiplication table of like all like prime numbers divided by 13 or something.
If somebody understands the name of this company better than we do, please
put
let
in
us
the comments. Yeah.
know. We're really confused right now still. We're not smart.
We don't math. Sadly.
Helpless. I'm gonna go play some amps now. I'm gonna play 2 Rock in a minute.
Yeah.
And that Gibson amp that's sitting behind. And then maybe that Swart over there. Maybe that Marshall.
So,
Click like, subscribe.
hit the bell
Peace be with you.
again.
God bless thee. Take care, guys. See you, Eli, Mac.